Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
Evil Dread by Scare-in-a-Box. Skulls and skeletons, witches and warlocks. Halloween decor filled every glass front display in the mall. From the candle shop, advertising its pumpkin candles, to the clothing shops joining in the Halloween spirit with witch hats and brooms accessorizing the mannequins. Davis loved all of it. Halloween was his favorite season, and as a security guard at the mall, he dug the nighttime wandering among the displays. This year, however, was especially amazing. The movie theater had pulled out all the stops and built a replica of the cabin from Davis's favorite horror franchise, The Cabin of Terror. As Dave finished his rounds, he headed over to the cabin display. The soles of his shoes squeaked on the linoleum floor. He glanced around to double-check no one else was there. Sometimes the guard for the next shift showed up early, and Davis didn't want to be caught messing with the display. No one was there. He pulled out his phone and snapped a quick selfie with him outside the cabin door. He sent it over to his best friend Ralph, who also loved the movies. Ralph would be so jealous. But he could get a better selfie than that. The display was a pretty complete replica of the cabin from the movies. He stepped inside and walked into the kitchen where, in the Cabinet of Terror 2, the final girl found her boyfriend gutted on the floor. Davis lay on the floor, copying the movie pose as best he could, and snapped another selfie. Next, he copied the movie poster of Cabin of Terror 3 by hiding under the table, pressed against the pineapple wallpaper. His friends were going to love these, and maybe one of them would be good enough to post on his dating apps. Cabin of Terror 4 was currently playing theaters, and he would love a woman to take. He couldn't think of what the franchise could possibly do for a fifth movie in the series, so this would probably be the last one. He wanted to make the best of it. Davis stood up and wandered into the bedroom to take a few more snaps, then out to the living room, where most of the true gore in the movies took place. Outside the window, a white mist arose, and he stopped to admire it. Nice. They must have placed dry ice around the cabin, giving the whole area that misty look from the movies. He hadn't noticed earlier, but with the lights low and the doors locked to keep out the bustle and distraction of mall-goers, he couldn't miss it now. He put his back to the window and took a snap, trying to get the rising mist into the picture. Proud of the general look, he sent that picture to Ralph as well, but as he further inspected the picture he took, he thought he saw a figure in the background. Davis turned, ready to chase off a teenager who somehow hidden in the mall, or grovel if it was his boss. What he saw took him a long moment to process. Mannequins, still wearing their witch hats and masquerade masks, covered the floor, no longer hidden behind glass. Instead, the brooms and other innocuous Halloween props, they held chainsaws, the same brand the hardware store carried, and they were moving towards the cabin. Davis let out a squeaking scream and jumped back from the window. The mannequins moved forward, brandishing their weapons. The mist grew thicker, rising in plumes. Davis grabbed the ratty couch and shoved it against the front door to block access. From the window, he saw the first of the things reach the cabin, and the chainsaw roared to life. Davis had heard nothing but bad things about the battery-operated ones, but they seemed to be working fine to him. More saws rattled and roared, then screamed and screeched as they hit the wooden walls of the cabin. The door shook. Davis shook his back against the couch, trying desperately to keep in place. Something heavy and strong pounded on the other side. He was trapped. Davis rubbed his eyes, but doing so didn't make the world around him change. Davis's phone buzzed. Ralph had messaged him back. Too bad you can't get in the cellar. The wine barrel death was the best. The cellar! Davis nearly crowed for joy. Of course! In Cabin of Terror 1, the final three had discovered a cellar up against the back wall and made it down there. Maybe he could hide out. Davis scurried across the floor and shoved aside the heavy recliner that covered all but one corner of the trapdoor to the cellar. There it was, the wooden latch that led to survival. He gripped the iron replica handle and pulled up. It didn't budge. The blade of a chainsaw cut through the front door, sending splinters of wood into the air. With a deep heave, Davis pulled again. The iron handle snapped off. Of course, Davis thought, staring in dismay at the white plastic inside the iron-painted ring. There was no cellar. This was the mall. He turned to the door and stared at the spinning blade and the featureless mannequin face just outside the door. Hysteria brought one more thought. Maybe there was a subject for Cabin of Terror 5 after all. Then the door broke, and the first weapon-toting mannequin stepped inside. So quoth this raven. My darlings, this was such a fun one. It's not very long, which, as you can tell, is good for me. I've been down with the gombo this week. And this was fun. So many elements. Anybody else imagine Davis as a young Bruce Campbell? I hope you all have a good week, my darlings. Thank you for stopping by, my darlings. It means so much. I so enjoy telling these stories for you. And here are some of my marvelous supporters. Please, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. If you give this video a like, it would help me out ever so much. Thank you, and have a lovely, lovely day.